It used to be that civilization games were about going back in time and building humanity's empire on Earth, but everything changed today when Firaxis announced Civilization Beyond Earth, which is taking humanity off the planet and instead of looking back, looking forward to the future. So instead of going back in time and having this linear progression where humanity evolves on Earth just kind of like it evolved on Earth in reality and discovering things like gunpowder, humanity now has to evolve on an alien planet, and that meant that Firaxis had to invent the history of humanity's future.
It's a story that I think all of us imagine, especially if you're a fan of sci-fi, which we both are really big fans of sci-fi, is what's next for mankind, because there's so many different ideas about who we could end up being. So with this game, we really picked three that we thought were the most evocative. And they're represented in the game mechanically as affinities, kind of this guiding ideology, philosophy of what humanity is or what it means, and if you can realize it, you win the game.
We're not going to be discovering gunpowder this time around.
We might be discovering like super advanced alien or artificial sentience, or genetic modification to the point where you can like rewrite the human genome and change what it means to even be human at the organic level, or anything in between.
How do you design a game about future evolution on an alien planet you haven't been to? Firaxis has an answer for that, and that is the nonlinear tech web, which is an evolution of the tech tree from old Civilization games.
Right, so the tech web is our answer for the unknown of the future. The tech tree that has been linear in the Civilization series, described the history of human technological advancement. Now that we're going out in the future, there's a lot of different theories of where humanity might develop into it. There's a lot of, in science fiction as well as science, you see that there's very different and distinct directions it could evolve in. And the tech web, where you start in the middle and just find your path outwards, is just a lot more descriptive of that, well, it's the unknown. We don't know, it's the frontier. So it might develop in any one direction.
Ultimately, what the tech web allows you to do is determine the future of humanity, who they'll become, what they'll become. They might be like robot guys who really like technology, or they might be people who really don't like technology and stick to being just what humans are. They might be some weird combination of the two. Whatever that is actually sounds really interesting, and it sounds like a lot of fun and a great twist on an old mechanic like the tech tree.
That was one of the earliest decisions, I would say, is having a technology web, and I think it really is kind of like the most fundamental way we accomplish this idea of, we're not saying that you know, the future of mankind has an end point here. As we can with history, we can say you start at agriculture and you kind of end up, you know, with satellites and stealth bombers and all that. But we didn't want to take a strong stance on like, this is the way that history is going.
So when you land on planet, you can either embrace the ecology in the planet and become indigenous to it. You can sort of have machines be your salvation and turn into robot people. Or you can reject all of those things and sort of look back to old Earth as the way forward. And those three ideas were the most evocative to us, and we sort of built those in mechanically into the product.
It's really about you figuring out what you need to be. Like, how does your playstyle, the circumstances on the ground, the planet that you've landed on, the neighbors who land there after you, the alien creatures that you find, how does that all influence like who you feel humanity has to become?
One of the phrases that really intrigued me about the project that Will and Dave told me when I joined the team was the game kind of asked the question, like, you're on this new alien planet. How will you change the planet, but also how will the planet change you? If, for example, you start the game and there's maybe three choices, your first technologies, for example, and one is kind of always better than the other ones, it becomes a non-choice. You know, as you play or as you look up FAQs or go on the forums, you know, games with a critical path or a build order, it kind of removes choice from the equation at kind of key points, and especially for the beginning of the game when you're supposed to be exploring and having fun and really kind of trying out different play styles. I think it's important to kind of have the choices as equally balanced as possible.
We haven't seen much of the game, but we've heard a lot of the high-level concepts, and they are very high-level. It would have been, I think, easy to make another Civilization game just like the old Civilization games, but Firaxis is being bold. And though it seems very much new, and very interesting, it also seems like at its heart a civilization game. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops in the weeks and months ahead before it's released this fall.